Well, hey, hi, I'm Sharonda, and welcome to Beyonce's Side of the Internet. And during this video, as always, I'll be talking about a book, and that book is Siren Song by Erin Ashley Tanner. This is the first book in her Mermaids of Asteria series. And as always, I'll have a cover of the book on the side of me. All right, so this is a Black Mermaid series. Also, shout out to my girl Shades and Pages for putting this book on my radar because I love mermaids, but I especially love reading stories about Black mermaids. So in this book, we have Aria, who is the youngest member of her family, a royal family, and she is cursed. Okay, and what is that curse, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. So you know how with mermaids they have these siren songs, not along with the bang, not just with the banging bodies and the beautiful faces and stuff. They have these songs that are supposed to enrapture people, bring people in, especially the men's, right? So with Aria, she cannot use her voice because of this curse that was put on her, and it is basically she has a dark voice. Okay, if Aria uses her voice, she is basically going to tear shit up. Like everything is going to, she can basically destroy the sea. Okay, destroy the world with her voice. All right. So when we go inside of the story, she is kind of like the outcast of her people because when she was young, she mistakenly in error, she didn't know, she was a kid, she sung a song, and Astoria was damn near destroyed. Okay, so everybody is mad at her. It's like she can't come to no cookouts, she can't come to no parties. It's like, get her away from us, you know what I mean? So she is pretty much feeling like the outcast and stuff like that. But in this story, we see where Aria is not just tasked with ridding herself of this curse, but also protecting her family from dangers that is going to be facing them inside of this story. All right. And with her ridding herself of this curse, she has to find her one true love. I mean, it's not worded like that, but child, that's basically what it is. Okay, so for the most part, I enjoyed this book. I love the world building. I thought the author was did a very good job with the world building of these mermaids, like, and very descriptive of it. Like her telling of this underwater world of Asteria and how these mermaids originated, and giving us like a little history on these mermaids and how we can tell their clans apart. Like, for example, what Aria and the people and the mermaids, the mer people in Asteria, we know they are all from that water world is because of the color of their tails, which is orange and red. So that's basically how you're able to tell these mermaids apart inside of this book. Also, she gives us a little bit history on different ethnicities of mermaids and stuff. Like, for example, with Asian mermaids, like, they're not only are their tails a different color, but their tails are shaped different, kind of like koi, things like that. So she's very good at telling us, giving us very good background on these mermaids and this world that she is creating. All right. In the history of these mermaids and how they came to be and stuff like that. So in this book, we have Aria who meets, in one of her days where she's just, not feeling, she's feeling like out of whack and, kind of like the outcast. She runs into Jason, a human, who is also a marine biologist, by mistake. And, it's kind of like, he's instantly taken with her and stuff like that. And we kind of find out in the book that Jason is going to be like, her one true love, the person that is supposed to assist her in breaking this curse upon her. So one of the things that kind of like irked me while reading the story is that I feel like the building of the relationship and the romance between Aria and Jason was kind of like overtaken by a different side plot and side stories. So inside of this book, even though this is supposed to be Aria's story, I feel like we were getting, other folks' stories. Um, and sometimes I don't mind that, but again, those side plots and side stories kind of like overpower the romance between Aria and Jason. So, for example, we have her older sister, Aria's older sister, who is kind of like thrust into being queen of Asteria because their mom, who was original queen, disappears. So, we're getting a little bit of her story, how she's feeling these pressures and stuff like that. And then the other sister, who is kind of like, feeling like, she kind of like jealous because she's like the most beautiful of the women and stuff like that. And, she feel like she should be queen and not the other sister. So, we have her story, which kind of like combines with the task that Aria is put to, as far as like protecting Asteria and the people. She has a plot to go against Asteria and stuff like that. So those kind of like side plot and side stories kind of like overpowered the relationship. And as far as like with Jason, like I say, he's human, but we find out that he's not quite all the way human through his mother. And with Jason, we have kind of like that theme of where the mom left when he was young, leaving him to his dad to raise. So I feel like we got an introduction to the reason why Jason mom's left. And then we kind of like find out, like I said, through her, he's not quite human. But I feel like we really didn't get the full reason of why his mom left. Like, what was the reason? You know what I mean? So we have in a story where Jason is struggling with, the reappearance of his mom and him and his dad's life. And yeah. And also Jason had like an ex that is kind of like crazy, don't want to let go, because Candice was a whole fool inside of this story. I was like, girl, what is you doing? Like, if you read the book, you'll know what I'm talking about. But Candice was wilding inside of this book. I was like, Candice, girl, let it go. Okay. But like I said, for the most part, I like the story. I just feel like these side plots that went on kind of like overpowered, because we don't see much of a building, in my opinion. We don't see much of a building of a relationship between Aria and Jason. Like, we get them a little bit on page in the beginning, then we have kind of like, we have this kerfuffle where Aria is trying to figure out what's going on, with the other sister, and the plot against, Asteria, and what she has to do to protect it. And we have all of that before we get another, we get more scenes with her and Jason actually on page. So I feel like, yeah, they have a connection when we do see them on page. They do have energy together when they are on page together, but not so much, because we're getting all these other things that are going on inside of the story. But I think that was my main issue with this book, is I just feel like, if this was going to be a story where we're focusing on Aria and this romance that she's supposed to be finding to help her break this curse, we didn't get much of it, you know what I mean? And I ain't like that, you know what I mean? I wanted more of a building of a relationship between her and Jason on page. I wanted, by the time we got to the end of the book, them being together made more sense, you know what I mean? And I just feel like it didn't. But the action inside of this book was amazing. Like, she has fight scenes going on inside of this book. And Aria, because she's this outcast, she's kind of like put on her brother's army. So, she's a warrior princess, you know what I mean? So the fight scenes were amazing. There's a little bit gore on page because, everybody ain't gonna make it inside of this book, you know what I mean? But again, that just attests to this author's writing style and her being very descriptive in what she's trying to tell you. But for the most part, I like the book. If you are a fan of, reading mermaids, especially black mermaids, I think you'll like this story. It suffers a little bit from first in the book blues, but not so much. You know what I mean? It's still an enjoyable story. Still an amazing world build, amazing telling of characters inside of the story. But yeah, I liked it. We're gonna get a book two. I'm definitely gonna pick up book two in the series because I'm interested to know what that's all about. Because by the time we get to the story now, you know, the mermaids they ain't fucking with humans, right? It's like we don't fuck with them people, you know what I mean? It's like that with humans. And and there are some humans that know about mermaids, which we get another side plot. We find out what happened to Aria's mom and why she was gone so long. Child, it's crazy, right? But when we in this book, we see where we might have an upcoming war between the mermaids and humans. And, I don't know whose story is going to be next. You know what I mean? We're not going to see, we're going to see more Aria and Jason and how, by the end of the story, he fits into Asteria and stuff like that. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to the second book. I'm pretty excited about the second book. I want to see whose story. I feel like it's gonna be the older sister's, Akira's. I think it's gonna be her story. But like I said, if you're interested in Black Mermaids, definitely. You get all the mermaidness inside of this story, and I think that makes up for the lack of this romance between Aria and Jason. This really is a mermaid story. So my suggestion is check it out. It is available on Kindle, and right now it is in the Kindle Unlimited library program. So yeah, that is it for me, and until the next one, later days. Bye.